Hi friends. I'm gonna turn off this fan really quick. It's quite loud. Okay, well, first things first. I wish I could be sponsored by LaCroix. Like if they knew how much I purchased LaCroix in my life, I probably fund half of their employees' wages. Okay. Well, you guys, I'm excited for a little sit down chat today. I feel like it's been a minute since I've just like pulled up a seat, popped a LaCroix and had a chat with my friends on the interwebs. But today, honestly, I was like, what should I chat about? Like, I don't know if there's like really anything that feels so pressing on my heart. Truthfully, life has felt a bit like a roller coaster the last couple weeks with like personal things, with Elijah, with my friends. One of my really good friends moved back to the UK this week. So it's just been weeks of sort of like a roller coaster of emotions. And I don't know, maybe you can relate to a season of life like that. In this season, there are some things that, you know, Elijah and I are totally working on and kind of just figuring out as a couple where we're at and what vision we have for our marriage. And it's so complex, you know, doing life with somebody, but then also having your own ambitions and dreams and all sorts of things. There's lots that I've been learning. But today, I figured we could spend some time just chatting, like a little sit down wife chat. It's been a minute since we've had one of those kind of conversations. You and me can just chat. I just want to have a raw, real conversation about the things I've recently been learning in marriage. So without further ado, you guys, let's jump in. One of the first things that came to mind when I was thinking about recent things I've been learning in regards to marriage is just the importance of respecting your spouse. It's so vitally important, especially for men to feel respected by their wife. Like they are coming home after being out and about in the world and need a space that feels safe and secure, where their wife almost is like their biggest cheerleader and makes them feel like they, no matter what happened that day, the next day they can get up and go and conquer the world again because they are the strongest, most capable, invincible man that there is on the planet. So granted, let me just throw out a little bit of a disclaimer. I am by no means the expert. I think one of the biggest ways that disrespect tries to creep in is in how you speak about your husband. And I feel like one of the biggest pieces of advice I would give is to avoid speaking negatively about your spouse, especially with people that you don't trust or you don't really know. I think there can be times when maybe an emotion or frustration has become so bottled up inside that you're like, I just gotta get this out. I just have to tell somebody. I think there's times that it's easy to slip into, oh my gosh, if you only knew, or the way he does X, Y, and Z. And recently I feel like not even like, I'm not saying that I've gone out and been like, Elijah's the worst ever, but there's little moments in the day where this thing has been bothering me at home and I find myself like just like almost like shaming Elijah to a friend or something about, oh my gosh, he just never does this, or he never picks up his towel, or whatever the scenario is, and really feeling convicted in my heart, like I should be his safe place. Like if I have a problem, I need to confront Elijah about the problem. I don't need to be going and telling all these people how frustrated I am, but really avoiding speaking negatively about them. Like the power of life and death is in our tongue. Like how are we building up and affirming one another? That should be a huge priority. Okay, this is something that I've recently feel like I think I've realized this, but I maybe just didn't have language for it until recently. But marriage is not always a 50-50 game. There are seasons where one is giving and pursuing and initiating way more than the other, or one is pursuing dreams and ambitions and goals way more than the other, or maybe one is sacrificing for their spouse way more in a season than the other spouse is sacrificing. So I think I've realized this in this season though, just because marriage isn't always 50-50, and that goes in a lot of different ways. I just named a few, like ambitions and goals, or initiating and pursuing, or really basic stuff like taking care of life things around the house, etc. It's not always going to be a 50-50 job or 50-50 cut. That's just not really how relationship and marriage works. But I've recently realized in this season in particular, I would say Elijah has been pursuing dreams and ambitions and achieving goals that he has for his life. And I would say I feel very content in what I'm doing, but I wouldn't say this is a season where I feel like I'm just running after all my dreams and ambitions and goals and desires. I actually feel this level of like, I feel content right now, but I actually feel so fulfilled and so much joy seeing Elijah pursue his dreams and goals and feel like just thriving in life. It actually brings me so much life to see him doing so well. And so I realized like, oh, there's actually so much goodness and so much joy and satisfaction and fulfillment in this season of life if I allow myself to, instead of like counting all the things that I'm not doing, if I can look and, oh my goodness, thank God for all the things that in this season Elijah is able to accomplish, and just know and rest assured that those dreams and desires that are in my heart, they're not going to just be swept to the side. Elijah cares for my heart, he cares for my dreams, he cares for my desires, and so does the Lord, and those will play out some way, somehow in my life. But in this season, I just get to be content with where I'm at, be so happy, and support Elijah and these dreams and goals that he has. Okay, another thing I feel like I've been learning in this season is comparison kills. And I mean like comparing your marriage and your relationship to anybody else's, whether that's your parents or your friends or people you don't even really know. Comparing where you're at to where they're at, I mean, that is just a death statement, because it's not gonna bring us life to compare. Maybe if you're inspired and you have vision and you're like, that's a kind of marriage I want to glean from them. But to go, oh my gosh, they're amazing, we're horrible, I wish we should have. If those kind of shame thoughts come in, that is when it is just no good, because it's not life building, it's not productive. And I think importantly, the Lord's just been showing me like what he is doing in our life and what he can do between us two and our unique dynamics and our unique relationship is unique. It is going to be different and look different than anybody else's. Like what he could do between me and Elijah is something that he could never do between Bob and Susie, but how Susie's relationship may never look like how our relationship looks. And it's because both of our covenant relationships, they serve completely different causes and purposes. And so it's really being attentive and asking God, what is it that you have for us? What is the vision that you have for our unique relationship and our life together? And what do we want to build? And what do we want our life to look like? And what legacy do we want to leave? What are the things that we're building towards and the life that we are creating together that just won't look the same as anybody else's? It's not better, it's not worse, it's just unique. And so I would just give that piece of advice. If you have found yourself looking at other relationships and thinking, oh my goodness, they're so better off, or oh my goodness, I wish we were like them, or whatever the thoughts is that you're having, just take them, acknowledge them, put them to the side, and ask the Lord, okay, God, but what is it that you have for our relationship? What are the beautiful dreams and visions that you want to accomplish through both of us together? So, I don't know. Have you ever felt just a little bit disconnected from your partner, your boyfriend, your husband, your wife? Has there ever been a moment where you just like, I don't even know, like, where are you at? Like, where are we at? Like, are we even on the same page? I feel like Elijah and I, we've had many of those moments where we always say, we use the words like, I just feel disconnected. I don't feel connected, because you know what it feels like to be connected. So when you feel disconnected, it's normally pretty obvious that you feel disconnected, or at least one of you does. And so recently there was a moment where we just have felt so disconnected. Like, what's going on? We've actually went and spoke with a counselor, and it was super helpful. But at the end of that meeting, we looked at each other and we're like, okay, we've acknowledged this dynamic. We've acknowledged this kind of situation and circumstance that is going on between us. But how do we actually pursue connection again? Because you don't always just like acknowledge what's causing disconnection and then boom, immediately feel connected. You kind of have to rebuild that connection again sometimes. And so Elijah and I were just like, what makes us feel connected? And we were just like, you know what? Sometimes a little bit of fun goes a long way, and really prioritizing fun in your relationship is so key and actually so huge. I think it's one of the biggest keys to a healthy relationship is being able to just not take life too seriously, not be so deep and intense all the time, but really actually have fun together and enjoy one another, enjoy life together, just to build experiences and go and have experiences together and just do something that you both enjoy, and just really begin to help you reconnect after maybe a season or a moment or a week or a day where you have just felt so extremely disconnected from one another. I would just say fun should be a huge priority. Okay, last but not least, one more thing that I have been learning in this season is sometimes we have dreams and goals and visions in what we want to accomplish in that season. And it's okay if you reach a place in those goals, dreams, and visions that you talked about previously have shifted and changed. But in order to stay connected and to stay on the same page, it's so important to have a reconnect, to kind of have let's relook and re-examine where we're at, what are the things we're pursuing, and the dreams we're going after, and the goals that we have for this season in life together. Because I think it's so easy in one moment to feel so connected because you feel like you're on the same team, you're going after the same things together, we're working towards these goals. And then when they kind of start to shift and pivot, or maybe they don't work out, to just kind of begin to like go your separate ways. But coming back, pulling out the drawing board, pulling out the budget, pulling out whatever you need to pull out, and going, okay, let's get on the same page. Like, what are the dreams and your desires in your heart for this season, for this time in our lives? How can we both build towards that? How can we stay on the same team? And even maybe it's not all this or all that, but maybe how are there ways we can pull in these different dreams and desires that we both have and really begin to create great vision where we both feel like we're on the same team pursuing the same things. Because I love this quote. Somebody says this: you can go faster by yourself, but you'll go farther with people. And it's so true. I'm like, well, if I was on my own, I'd be doing this, that, this, that, this, that. I'd probably have accomplished all these different things in my life. But with Elijah, I know, okay, maybe I could have run by myself 1,000,000 miles by now. But I know with Elijah, I'm going to be able to run 1,000,000,000 miles. I'm going to be able to go so much farther. I'm going to be able to build so much wider and so much greater because we're doing it together. And so if you begin to feel like you're running on your own over here and they're running on their own over here, pull it back in, reel it back in, because you might be going really fast both ways, but you're not going to make it far. So those are my little pieces of advice, the things I've been learning in this season. I hope they are helpful. Let me know in the comments below your best marriage relationship advice and which one maybe was the most helpful for you. And if you're new here, don't forget to like and subscribe. It's actually so helpful, and I love hearing from you guys. It's so fun. It really makes my day when I see that people have really enjoyed these videos because I love making them. So I will see you guys next time.